Hi, folks. Tim Conti here with Cloud Trusted Advisor. I hope you're having a great day. Today's video is going to be on the Gartner Magic Quadrant for Unified Communications for 2022. So if you're watching this video, you're interested in Unified Communications and the Gartner Magic Quadrant leaders. My name is Tim Conti. I founded Cloud Trusted Advisor after 27 years in the technology space, 15 of which I worked directly in Unified Communications. I was a subject matter expert with CDW Corporation, a $20 billion VAR, part of a SWAT team that helped customers like you migrate from on-prem phone systems to a new unified communication solution for voice, message, video, and chat. And we learned a lot at CDW, taking every type of customer and every type of vertical market through this journey, migrating from, again, on-prem to a new unified communication solution. In addition to CDW, I work directly for the providers, the vendors that you see on here. I've worked for many of these vendors over my 15 years in unified communications. It gives me a really unique perspective on what's going on in the market because I have that behind the scenes look that most customers don't get to see. You know, they get to see what these vendors want you to see, which is all roses, champagne and roses. But the reality is on the back end, there's some things that would be critical in terms of decision making, things that you'd be interested in learning about. I'm going to cover in this video. So before I get started, two huge things that happened that changed this entire unified communications landscape. Number one is, the 800-pound gorilla, Microsoft. Microsoft Teams voice is matured to a point where they are winning opportunities in the mid-market enterprise and maybe even in small business as well. The setting up Microsoft Teams voice has become easier. It's still not as easy as the other options that are available to you in the marketplace in the Gartner Magic Quadrant leader. But Microsoft has invested a ton, and their product is definitely prime time. It's not as cost effective as a lot of people think it is. It depends on your current licensing you have with Microsoft, whether you have E3 or E5. And there's also some complexity involved with managing the system ongoing if you're not terribly technical or don't understand the Microsoft stack, then it can be a challenge. But that's number one. That's the big thing that happened in this market. Number two is probably, I'm tired of saying it, you're tired of hearing it, but COVID was the other one. For the first time, customers were really forced to do something, and their traditional phone system probably didn't give them the flexibility they required during COVID. So it gave them an opportunity to really force into a solution. If you don't have a choice, right? No one likes change per se. But when you're forced into change, then you start to see what's available and what's out there. And it turns out that all these unified communications vendors did very well during COVID. So when you look at the Gartner Magic Quadrant leaders for unified communications, there's 5 on there today. We talked about Microsoft already. RingCentral is a player. They're a multi-billion-dollar company. I feel like their growth has kind of slowed a bit compared to some of their competitors. They've had some layoffs, but it's still a really strong solution. I do also feel as though from a pricing perspective, they are unable to get as aggressive as some of these other providers out there, specifically Zoom. Zoom has taken not a different approach. Zoom has taken the same approach they use for video around simplicity and ease of use and applied it to the phone system, chat. They're rolling out contact center. Zoom is a player. We just finished a large implementation for a Berkshire Hathaway company, and the price points were no one could touch them. And it really provided the simple solution that the Berkshire Hathaway company was looking for and looking at a new solution. And we ran all these vendors side by side for our customer in a consulting engagement, and Zoom ultimately won out. They're actually winning out for us more than the others. There's a variety of reasons for that, but that's not for this video. Cisco, they should be in the Gartner Magic Quadrant leader. They should be in the Leaders Quadrant. They're a player. Personally, I don't recommend them very much to my customers. It's predominantly WebEx, and then they're kind of shifted strategies in terms of what they're doing with unified communication. Not bashing Cisco at all. It's a great company. Just as it relates to a unified communications project, I'm more rolling in Microsoft Teams, RingCentral, Zoom, Dialpad versus Cisco. Just a personal preference of mine. And then you look at 8x8. Oh man, I got to be careful here. I used to work at 8x8, by the way, but I am surprised they're still in the leaders quadrant. The stock's at $3.80. The revenue is insignificant in terms of these other vendors. Their support is not great. They've had massive layoffs, and there's rumors that they're going to be acquired by RingCentral or somebody else. I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not, but that rumor's out there. I am, though, still surprised they should not be in the leaders quadrant. I don't know why they are. I know they've got a full stack of contact center and unified communications, but personally, I just don't see it. If anything, I would look at maybe someone like Dialpad that you see just below. That would be, in my opinion, in the leaders quadrant, or should be. They're doing a lot with AI and some really unique things in the market. We just finished a 500 user deployment for Dialpad. It went very well. Customer loved the advanced features that they use. They didn't really need a contact center, but they had contact center-like requirements. They needed to do email support, chat support, phone support for their end customers, and they had these customer service reps, 300 of them, that were on an antiquated solution, and they needed something better and more efficient. And then that's the leaders quadrant, right? I'm going to shift gears here in a minute, but Google's doing some stuff, here and there. I'm not seeing like a massive investment. A lot of my peers have had a lot of success with Vonage. You might think of them as the old residential play. Personally, I haven't brought them into an opportunity quite yet, or haven't consulted, but my peers feel really strongly about their solution, and it's enterprise ready. So they go into the really large companies. Windstream, hard no there. If you know Windstream, you know what I'm talking about. And then some of these other players, we could go on and on, but that's the quadrant. So what I want to show you next is a really simple and easy way to, evaluate these providers and take it really one step further. So I've got a tool called Pathfinder that's been perfected and used across thousands of engagements to help IT leaders, contact center managers, IT directors, VP of technology, CIOs, help you shorten your decision-making process and get you from A to B quicker. The tool is called Pathfinder. And as your trusted advisor, I have access to this tool. I use this tool all the time in a variety of different capacities. But when we talk about the Gartner Magic Quadrant leaders, you see they're on this list, right? Microsoft here, we got RingCentral, 8x8, and some others. But when you download the Gartner Magic Quadrant for unified communications, the challenge becomes, where do you go next, right? Okay, great. So I download a white paper, and then my phone's on speed dial, and these customer service vendors, or these SDR reps, they call them, are constantly calling into you and wanting to know what keeps you up at night and asking questions that aren't relevant. This bypasses everything. You won't have to do any more research on the market. You won't have to talk to any vendors until very late in the process. Our first 3 or 4 steps that we do is vendor agnostic. You don't have to talk to these sales reps. You talk to myself, you talk to my team. We've done this 100 times, thousands of times. I've got a who's who list of corporate clients that we've helped, all with testimonials. We have a 95% success rate with our projects. So this is just step one. So if you book a call with us, we'll meet together and we'll help you find the best unified communication solution based on your specific requirements. So let me show you what I'm talking about really quick. Primary data centers, you are going to want to know if you're international. I'm going to assume you're in North America, but if you're international and say you have some offices in Europe, you do want to have and work with a provider that has data centers out of the United States. Most do. But the question is, where are they? And this is important for call quality. So let's just say that for all intents and purposes, you're in North America and Europe. We'll check those two boxes. Let's say you want to repurpose or reuse an investment you have in handsets. And let's say you have some Polycoms out there. We'll check that. Your CRM system and hooking in your customer data that you have with this unified communication solution is going to really provide a ton of efficiencies. Things like screen pops and populating notes. This is critical to integrate your CRM with this new solution. A lot of folks are on Salesforce, so I'll choose that one. Productivity app integration. A lot of companies do want to integrate with Teams to make it a really one experience. So we'll check Teams integration. And then compliance. Let's say that you're in an industry such as healthcare where you are required to be HIPAA compliant. We'll check that one. Okay. So you kind of see here some of the leaders immediately popped in, and part of this, you see providers like Call Tower. It's because of the Teams integration. But let me show you what we've got here. We're going to generate this matrix. And this is your requirements over here on the left. And this is the vendor's ability to fulfill the requirements. So what we've essentially done is we've saved you 20 hours of mind-numbing research having to do this on your own. We've got all the data and research here for all these providers. And we send you this PDF, make it yours, take credit for it to your boss. Say you spent all this time doing this research, slap your logo on it. We don't care. What we do care about is making sure you have all the data necessary to make a good informed decision for unified communications. We help you avoid the pitfalls and the traps that your peers have run into. Again, we have a 95% success rate, but this is a full research report that you won't find anywhere. And then from here, you kind of look at some solutions here, and we use our own data of the market to manually eliminate some from consideration. And, obviously here you see you've got a great list of vendors to consider. So again, in summary, we covered the Gartner Magic Quadrant for UCaaS and the 5 vendors that are in there. We also covered 2 of the main things that are happening in this industry right now. COVID changed everyone's perception of unified communications and really brought out a need. And then Microsoft Teams voice being so prevalent in the market. But at the end of the day, you should make this competitive when you're looking at a new solution. I will tell you that all these providers say they're the best, in the market. They can't all be the best, but there's always one that's best for you based on your requirements. And that's what we pull out of this report. We find 1 or 2 small things that are important to you, and then the cream rises to the top. We bring in these vendors, and then from here, if you'd like to work with us, we work in a consulting engagement to help you from A to B to C to D, take you from evaluation or research to evaluation to implementation, all the way through adoption. Also, even after the ink is dry in the contract, we help you negotiate the terms and conditions. We help you negotiate pricing. But then outside of that, we never go away. Your account teams for these vendors will shift every year. Might fall in love with your account manager, don't, because they won't be there a year later. But my team is the static. We're always there. I've got clients that have been with us that we sold a unified communication solution to 10 years ago, and they're still with us. So that's how it works. So feel free to click the link, schedule a call if you'd like to run through this free analysis. I'll go through the same steps and input your data into the tool and send you the results, and we can talk from there. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you soon.